Power BI. Today we're going to show you how to make some summarization tables. We're going to take a look at table functions from Power BI. We're going to write some DAX and we're going to summarize an orders table and show the top freight customers. And then we're going to take that freight table and show you the top 10 freight. So we're going to do a TopN and we're going to do a summarize. They are both table functions, and they're part of adding new tables in Power BI from an existing table as we continue to learn DAX and Power BI. Back in Power BI, today we're going to show you and continue to learn DAX. We're going to do a couple of table functions in Power BI. One of them is the summarize function, which will summarize a table. The second one is the TopN. And the top N could be top 10, top 50, top 100, whatever number you want to see. And we're going to base it all off of one table. We currently have one table in this data set. And if we go to the data view, we have customer ID, we have freight, and we want to see by customer ID the amount that they spent on freight. And we're going to summarize this table so that it only has two columns. Rather than all of these other columns, we want to see just customer ID, and then we want to see the total amount of freight. So from the table tools, we need to create a new table. And the new table is going to be called custom freight, customers freight. And the syntax requires 4 parameters. So the first parameter after you get in the DAX is the summarize function. And we're going to follow along just by using our IntelliSense. The IntelliSense kind of guides you through, but the summarize function is going to create an entirely new table. And we're going to summarize the table. Now, in this example, we only have one table. So that table is orders. So we want to summarize orders, and we want to group by. Our options are all the different columns in the customer order table. So we want to summarize by the customer ID. And the customer ID is what it's going to summarize each of those IDs. Next, we want to create the name of the column. And that's going to be the name that we want to give this summarization. So we want it to be total freight. It could be total freight, total customer freight, whatever we want to do. Again, the name of your measures and columns should be something that becomes identifiable to the person using your Power BI report. So we're going to use total freight as the name because we're adding up the total freight by customer. And the expression is the actual DAX that we're going to use to summarize that freight total, which is a sum of the orders freight column. So what this is going to do, the 4 parameters, the table is orders. We're going to group by customer ID. The name of the column is going to be total freight, and we're going to use the sum of the freight column inside orders. And when we hit enter, it creates a new table called customer freight. And now every customer ID has a total freight. So I can see that VINET has spent $58.41 on freight, rather than having to look at the entire table with all of this other data. We see a quick summary that Tom SP has $125.97. Now, to format that, it would be the same as a normal table tool. If we want to create that as English United States currency, now we see it changes to the currency with 2 decimals. So now that we've created a customer freight table, a quick summarize, we can use a TopN. So what I want to see now is the top 10 customers by freight, by total freight costs. So again, under the column tools, we are going to go back to the orders table. We want to create a new table. And the new table is going to be top 10 freight charges. And we're going to walk you through the syntax, which is going to be, the first thing is the name of the DAX expression, which is top N. And top N, if you read the summary, it returns a given number of top rows according to a specified expression. So this could be 10, this could be top 25, this could be top 50, this could be top 100. So we're going to choose our top N function, and now we choose the N value, and we want to choose 10. It could be 25. We're going to choose top 10, and the table is going to be from the customer freight table. And the customer freight table is the table that we just created. So now we're going to choose customer freight, and we want to order it by the total freight in that table. So there's only one column in that table. So we're going to use the total freight. And that is from the customer freight table. And then the final thing is order by descending or ascending. And we want to choose the top 10. So we're going to choose descending. So now this is going to create a whole new table from that new table we just created, the customer's freight. That lists every customer ID. Now we're going to list just the total freight from that customer's freight. And now you see we have just the top 10 by freight. And if we want to sort this, we could sort this in descending order. So now we have 6683, 6205, and the lowest of the top 10 is 1394. Now, if we wanted to see the top 25, all we would need to do is go back into the formula and change the top 10 to the top 25 and hit enter, and that'll bring up the top 25 for sales. So if we wanted to see how much the top 10 customers spent on freight, we could create a new visual, card visual, and we could bring in the top 10. Well, right now it's set for, we have to go back because it's named top 10. So we're going to change that 25 back to a 10. And now we can bring in this total freight charge, and we see that our top 10 customers spent $31,000 on freight. And that is a look at the summarization, summarize, and the top N. And remember, the top N can be 10, 25, or 50. We could also use this in other visualizations. We could create a matrix table with that top 10 customers or top 25. And even for the customer's freight, we could take a look at that table in the data view. And remember, we're summarizing from the customer's freight table. We could sort descending on that as well, but that would have the entire list of the customers by freight versus the top 10. Top N has just how many customers that we choose. So these are some of the ways that you can create additional tables in your report from our main table, which was orders. That is a look at Summarize and TopN, creating DAX tables in Power BI.